Hello everyone, welcome back. We are now starting 6.2 multiplying and dividing radical expressions. So let's review some of the steps needed to multiply and divide. Multiplying is actually the easiest of the four operations when you're dealing with fractions. So when you're multiplying, you simply multiply the numerator, multiply the denominator, and then simplify if possible. Dividing is probably the second easiest, where it's very simple. What we do is we change the division to multiplication. We take the reciprocal of the divisor. So simply, what that simply means is we take the second fraction, or the fraction to the immediate right, and the numerator and denominator will actually change positions. So some people use the word flip, but I like to call it the reciprocal. And then simply multiply. So pretty straightforward. So again, you've done this in middle school. This is something you've done in the past, but we're just going to do a quick little review moving forward. So let's look at the first one. It says simplify each of the following. 5/8 multiplied by 3/7. So what we do is we just multiply the numerators and the denominator. Very straightforward. I'm going to get my equation here, my fraction equals, and 5 multiplied by 3 is 15, and 8 multiplied by 7 is 56. Now we check to see if it can be simplified. The factors of 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. The factors of 56 are 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 14, 28, and 56. So obviously it doesn't simplify. Okay, I know some of you have those neat calculators that will do that for you. Oh, here we go. The next one is the division. So remember, what we do is the first fraction stays the same. We change the division to multiplication. We're using an x now. We won't do that when we have the variables, obviously. And we take the reciprocal of 2/3, which becomes 3/2. And then obviously all we do now is we are going to multiply them together. So we multiply the numerators, and then we multiply the denominators. So 4 multiplied by 3 is 12, and 7 multiplied by 2 is 14. And obviously you can see that that can be simplified, and that becomes 6/7. Both numerator multiplied divided by 2. Some people, what they will do is they'll take the 4 and the 2, they'll notice these, and they'll take 4 and divide it by 2, and they'll get 2 here in the numerator, leaving a 1 in the denominator. So they'll simplify prior to that, and that's fine as well. This is just something that I've always done, and again, there's no right or wrong with this, just a couple different methods. Let's look at the next one. We have 2/3 divided by negative 2/3. So obviously I think a lot of people would say, well, isn't that just -1? And you'd be right. But we're going to show that in our steps. So we have 2/3. The division sign becomes multiplication. The negative 2/3 becomes 3/2. You can leave the negative in the numerator and denominator. It doesn't make a difference. And some people see, oh, well, 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 divided by -2 is 1. So you're just left with -1. That would be correct. I'm going to show it step by step. So then we have 2 times 3 is 6. We have 3 times -2 is -6. And obviously that would be equal to -1. Okay. Let's look at example D. You'll notice that in this case, it's not a fraction, so we can make any number of fraction by putting it over a denominator of 1, and I mentioned that in the previous video, you may recall. Okay, so we have 8. I'm going to do it step by step again. You could probably skip this step once you get the hang of it. Alright. And that would becomes 3/1. right? So we just put in 3 and we put it over 1, and that simply becomes, again, some people will take the 3 and the 9 and recognize that this 3 over 9 becomes 1/3, and that's fine. That's another method. I'll do it this way. It becomes 1/3. So the 3, 9, we simplified that before. Some people multiply it to be 24 over 9 and then simplify to 8/3. It doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't. All right. Either way, at the end of the day, your answer is going to be 8/3. Right? Again, this is just another method. So I took the 3 and the 9, I simplified that to 1 and 3. Again, just another method. You could have multiplied 8 by 3 and got 24 over 9 multiplied by 1, which is 9, and then recognized both are divisible by 3 and got 24 nines is equal to 8/3. It's the same thing. It's just showing you a different method. Okay. And the next one, we have 5, 6, and then the 15 and 16, we'll take the reciprocal of that. Again, you can do this every way you want. I'm going to multiply this time. Again, just another method. Some people will simplify first. 5 multiplied by 16 would give us 80. 6 multiplied by 15 gives us 90. And that's pretty easy to simplify. Obviously, both are divisible by 10, GCF, and you get 8/9. Okay. The next one is a little different. We have divided. We have basically 3 terms of divide. Okay. So the first one, again, the first fraction is going to remain the same. All right. So it's 3/5 becomes multiplied by, we take the reciprocal of 5/4, and then again we're dividing, so we multiply, and 6, which is actually 6 over 1, so the reciprocal of that is 1/6. So when you have 3 fractions and you're multiplying, it's pretty straightforward. Just multiply all 3 numerators, multiply all 3 denominators. So we get 15 in the you get 15 in the numerator, and you would get 120 in the denominator, and 120 is divisible by 15, and you get 8. And again, some people recognize the 5 divides by the 5 here, so that would be 1 over 1. Fine method. That would give you 3 over 24, which would simplify to 1/8. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you do this or how you were taught. Again, different methods, same result. Just remember we need to get 1/8. So you could try it a different way if you prefer, completely up to yourself. I'm going to go horizontal with this one just because I ran out of room here. So I'm going to go horizontal, which is fine. So we got 3/4 multiplied by 5/6 multiplied by 8/9, and then the last one is division. So we change that to multiplication. Take the reciprocal, 12 over 5, and then we say this is equal to, again, you can do some simplifying if you want, or you can just multiply it out. It's up to you. This one is one where you probably should try to do some simplifying first. Like 3 divides 6, you get 1/2, right? 3 over 6 is 1/2. 8 over 4 is 2. There's a couple different ways. Maybe I'll show both. So the first one, I would just multiply them all out, and you get 1440 over 1080. Anyone who is involved in any skateboarding or snowboarding, these numbers are familiar. They're all multiples of 360 actually. So I can divide these by 360, and I would get a numerator of 4. If I divide that by, and divide 180 by 360, so as you know, that's 3 revolutions, so it's 4/3. Okay. An alternative method that would work just as well right? So, I'm just going to rewrite that everything again. So my apologies. So, or we could do it this way, which is equal to, and then remember we can simplify. So if we were to simplify this, the 3 and the 6, that could become 1 over 2. And the 8 and the 4 can become 2 over 1. And the 5 divided by 5 can become 1 over 1. And then we can even further that. The 12 and the 2 can become 6 over 1. And you can simplify it that way, which is fine. And then even further, you can do the 6 and the 9 becomes the 2 over 3. So you can simplify Doring, right, which is pretty neat. And then at the end of the day, final answer becomes 1 times 1 times 2 times 2, which is 4, and 1 times 1 times 3 times 1, which is 3, and the same result. So whatever you're comfortable with, really. Just want to show you a couple different methods there. That'll be it for this video. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to actually multiply some rational expressions. This was a review. This whole video was items that you've learned in middle school at some point when you were learning about multiplying operations of fractions, multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting. Okay, so in the next video, like I said, we're going to look at multiplying and dividing rational expressions. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you guys again soon.